So why do we brainstorm? This is a question I've been asking many people that I work with. And many of them tell me that brainstorming is a tool to solve problems and that they expect to get feedback and discover new points of view. But then something weird happens. When I ask the same people, how was your last brainstorming session? All of a sudden, their faces change. And I get a whole different set of answers. They say it's inefficient, they say it was confusing, they say it was ineffective, they say it was exhausting. Yes, there were some people who said it was helpful and inspiring, but the vast majority were on the negative end. And this got my attention, because when it comes to solving problems together through brainstorming, there is a big gap between what we expect and what we need to what we get. And I've been a product manager for more than 12 years. I've worked with Fortune 500 companies and startups, ranging from e-commerce to financial services and social media products and cybersecurity products. And over time, I've seen some observations that I'd like to share with you today. So today, we're going to talk about the way we usually approach problems and how we can make it better. So we will start out by mapping out the inherent challenges and pitfalls that we need to face usually by the way we solve problems today. Then I will share with you a case study of how I used a very special methodology that I'm going to teach you to turn a small startup to a growing company with more than $38 million in funding, only using effective problem solving. And then I will teach you how you can implement it in your work tomorrow. So let's start out. Usually, the way we approach problems begins with a meeting. Somebody decides there is a problem. It's not always true, but somebody decides there is a problem and schedules a meeting. The first thing we do, immediately, we start to generate solutions, right? Now, which solution should we choose? We don't know, so we start to convince each other. If this doesn't work, then the strongest one wins. Or there are specific tools today in the market, popular tools like design thinking and design sprints, that are designed to help us narrow down on effective solutions. So if we go that, let's say we go with design thinking. So design thinking says we should test. We don't know which solution is right, so let's make a small prototype or an MVP or a survey or a user interview, and let's test it. But then, after we test our solution, we come back with more insights and more feedback, and we iterate on our original solution. Okay, so we get even more solutions. Now, what do we do now? It's not getting any better, right? So we need to test once more. And oftentimes I find that this kind of testing and iterating is endless expansion and very hard to narrow down and focus an entire team, or even yourself, on one solution which would be effective. So I'll stop right here. You see where this is going, right? Our problem is twofold now. First, we have to deal with our original problem, and then we have to deal with the fact that we don't know how to narrow down. We don't have an effective tool to do it. So no wonder people found it exhausting and frustrating. And after I've seen many countless sessions like this, and I've led a lot of them too, it became clear to me that the main thing that we're missing in our working process and in the tools that are available today is a filtering mechanism. We need a clear filter that is transparent to everybody, that will help us narrow down on the most effective solutions. And it's not our fault that it doesn't work, because there are very powerful forces at play in any meeting room, brainstorming session, or any everyday meeting. First of all, there is our own bias. We are all human beings. We believe certain things are true, and oftentimes we are just wrong. Doesn't matter how much experience we have. Then we're gradually also losing our connection to the problem. So as we are iterating on our original solution, we're going farther and farther away from our original problem that we wanted to solve. So we might stumble across something that looks good, and we're tempted to implement it, but it doesn't move the needle for the original problem we want. So the iterations make us lose the connection to the original problem. Then we have to deal with the different personalities in the room, right? You know it, that sometimes the more introvert person has the best ideas, but they wait for their turn to speak. So they wait and we wait, but somebody who is more out loud and extrovert, he speaks for a longer time, and by the time it's your turn, you don't even want to speak anymore. So this is how creative power goes out the door. So personalities. Then, what if your boss is in the room, or your client? Nobody wants to look foolish in front of the person who has hired them. So it's also very influencing. And something very natural, which is our own fear of judgment. The creative process is embarrassing because we need to go through a lot of nonsense many times just to nail one good idea. So we can't avoid thinking how it would look in front of our colleagues, in front of our clients, in front of our boss. So all these things are happening in the room, and we go around. We go around and around. But at a certain point, we understand that the day is going to end, and we need to have some sort of outcome, right? We can't just finish the meeting with no outcome. And then comes the worst pitfall of all, the mothership of all pitfalls, which is compromise. So we need to compromise and make everybody happy. So each one of the participants get his little share of the solution, and this is how very strange solutions are constructed that make us happy, but don't really solve anything for our customers. So what we really need is, we need a tool that will help us cut through the noise and narrow down on the most effective solutions. And you see, the problem is that we're taught to believe that the solution is the opposite of the problem, but it's not. The solution is actually inside the problem. And if there's one thing I'd like you to take from today, it's this. Effective problem solving is not about generating solutions. It's about analyzing problems, living and breathing problems. Because once we understand what exactly we're looking for, the best solution will just appear by itself, like magic. It will just take care of himself. Not in all cases, but in most cases. Because many times we're not inventing the next AI or the next blockchain. We just need to make the right adjustments to tools and technologies and experiences that already exist.